oh no while I was looking down. Thank you. You have to ask questions at this panel. Because I'm here to support your role-playing journey, because it's going to be beautiful.
I love it how that's what I hit record.
Shut up, Dave, you work for me. All right, so. You all right? Do you need a minute? Okay. This is my beautiful tech person, Sam, who's also my wife. You should know she needs more praise than that. She made the very beautiful PowerPoint presentation that you will be seeing on screen today. I wrote the words. So one part of this presentation will be very impressive. One part you will think the person who wrote it had a head wound. So I gotta do a quick Q&A thing to start. Is everyone here over the age of 18?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool, I can swear. All right, and just so I know for my own curation purposes here, who is here specifically to learn how to play 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons? Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. You guys are gonna learn stuff, and you have no ideas out there. Yeah, because I like to ask what people's expectations are coming into this panel, specifically so I know how to tailor things, what your mindset is coming into it, what your expectations are in the long term. Now, if I ramble today, it is because it is 10:30 in the morning, and I am a goon. Are you ready to start? Actually, okay, it's technically 10:21, so we are technically early.
That's fine.
What do you mean it's fine?
Bonus time.
It's just fine.
It's just fine. Like, are you telling me to start now? Because you are out of breath, and I want to give you 8 minutes so you can get your life back together.
What are you going to do with the other 7 minutes and 30 seconds?
In between concepts.
That's a private matter between a gentleman and his wife. You've been wanting to ask that question of a gentleman and his wife.
Okay. Nails?
I am a firm, good 2-minute experience, sir.
Nails take more than 30 minutes. That didn't put our life back together.
Shut up. Leave me alone. It's 10:30 in the morning.
It's 10:22.
It's earlier than I said it was. Yeah, some of you came. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, I was wondering, since we have some time until the panel actually starts,
Sure.
I don't know if it's part of the presentation to do like the preliminary, like, insert the tabletop game. It's just, I personally, like, I have no experience with this at all.
I don't know
Like,
what you're.
preliminary knowledge.
You need nothing. You need absolutely nothing. This is Roleplaying 101, not Roleplaying 102 or Roleplaying 103. It's 101. I assume anyone coming in here either has no experience or has watched one particular web series way too much. We all know what the name is. We don't have to say it. Someone said the name. Courage Crowd. Yeah.
Dungeons and Daddies?
Yes.
Trying to get on there. I delete it. You need to actually be a father. Jerks. I'm kidding. I've never spoken to them. I'm just so yeah, no, you do not need any experience whatsoever. Once we get the entire initial presentation, so assuming people have 0 experience, once we're past a certain point, it will be open for questions. I keep popping my microphone. I keep moving it back further and further and further, and it does nothing. After a certain point, it is open for anyone to ask any questions whatsoever, depending on your experience level.
It's your awesome.
Thank you.
You have to pay.
Oh, you just gonna open the door and walk right away, right? You can make me feel like that. No, I won't take it personally. I will find you. I'm Italian.
Valid.
Just out of curiosity, who here is familiar with who I am, just off the top? Okay, for the rest of you poor people, my name is Big Mike. I run D20LIVE. We do a comedy tabletop shows at various conventions. We do online. We've done it at Con Bravo. We did it in Europe, Anime North. We have a show tonight at 10 p.m. I encourage you all to come out here. This is my vibe all the time.
Even at 10:30 in the morning.
This is the worst it gets. And just imagine when I get some more sleep. It'd be like a rabid monkey ricocheting off the wall. So I invite you to come out and check out our show. But yeah, so I like to add a whole lot of comedy to my presentations because of the sheer fact that you will remember it, as opposed to me generically going, "Hi there." Do you guys like tabletop? Do you guys want to know how to railroad your players? You're not, I'm going to tell you right now how to break that problem, by the way, today.
Nice. You know, it's 10:25 to start.
Like, just start?
Yeah.
All right, screw
To
it.
be fair, it's gonna take us like 10 minutes to get through the first slide.
How long do you think I jabber for?
Well,
You are my wife, and many people here do not know our relationship. How hard do you want to throw me into the tracks, woman? I love you too. I have no authority here. You're driving today.
hello.
All right, welcome to D20LIVE's Roleplay 101 panel!
Not again.
For my self-esteem. All right. Oh my God.
You told me to write that.
This is gonna be such trash. Oh my God, this is gonna be such a bad panel.
It's like group sessions.
Look at the screen, it's so bad. You don't understand, I wrote this like a year ago, and my entire year since then has been a dumpster fire. So I have not looked at this PowerPoint at all. So I have no idea what I've written on here. I have a lovely long summary of essay points that I will look at frequently, but I have no clue what's on here. So this is D20Live's big ass pointers. Or things you should know. So we're going to be taking through the essential skills of tabletop role-playing games, how to get good at them, and safety tools, which is very important. Doesn't it look nice, though? You can tell who worked on what part. All right, click it over. First of all, what is a tabletop role-playing game? Now, there's a really big problem when you get asked this question now. Once upon a time, a tabletop role-playing game was basically a simulation of a specific kind of rule system. So, back in about, let me check my dates, because I don't want to get the year wrong again and have people call me a bastard. I didn't write down the date. Back in the 1970s, a pair of guys by the name of Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson adapted a system of rules called chainmail, which was meant to simulate medieval warfare combat. And they realized something. It's way more fun to control one character than 20. And it was even more fun when you could customize that character, make changes to that character, and have that character evolve and grow over time. And they developed the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing system as we know today. That is a very, very summarized sequence of events of a very dramatic history that I encourage you to go check out on your own. There's a book called Desires and Dragons, and it literally the entire first 4 chapters is what happened with that initial company, TSR, and how much everyone backstabbed each other in that company.
I think there is also a panel later on today about the history of specifically Dungeons & Dragons. So
Yeah, but they're not affiliated with me. So
we're
I don't
not
care.
affiliated with them. We're just
They can
helping the
suffer.
convention.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if there's anything else here I didn't. But yeah, the thing is, with that initial premise was you'd have a character, that character would have fixed stats, and you would roll dice specifically to see whether or not that character performed certain actions. Since then, those mechanics in that core concept have become this massive fucking umbrella. Oh, I did my first swear and it felt good. This massive umbrella of possibilities and ways you can interact in the game. I have seen and owned tabletop games where you decide whether or not someone succeeded by doing this as a group, why you would let your friends determine why you do it, how well you do it. Anything is a dumbass thing, but whatever. I have seen tabletop games where the entire means of communicating with each other is through text messages in Discord. It has become and transcended in multiple ways, but at its core, you are simulating a character and playing. By the way, the game's called Alice's Mississauga. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. All right, you're the reason why I'm going to have a 102 panel next year, actually. But yeah, it has transcended. But at your core, you are playing a character with an objective and a goal, and you're deciding figuring out whether or not you can actually do the thing you want to do. This has pissed off everyone since we started playing this game, because no one likes failing at anything.
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide.
Yeah.
God, I'm so pretentious. Why did I write that?
I don't know.
How is a tabletop? But yeah, long story short, Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax took the rules from Chainmail, created a company called TSR, And oh my god, I'm such a bad writer. It is a type of game where players control one character, which can improve their skills, become stronger, and read history. So I think I mixed up my slides a little bit of my notes.
Next one.
Yeah, next one.
The gut.
How did you let me get away with that? Did you chuckle as I was writing this down? Like, what's this jackass? This won't come back to haunt you in a year.
I did warn you last year that this was going to come back to haunt you.
Well, clearly I forgot, and I'm blaming you. All right, so, oh god, I put Tragic RPG at front. God, I'm an asshole. So, there's two parts to answer this question. One, where can you actually buy tabletop role-playing games? The nice thing about tabletop popping off the way it has in the last 5 years is you can find a tabletop role-playing book nearly everywhere. It's usually Dungeons & Dragons, but you can find it anywhere. On top of that, there are websites like DriveThruRPG and itch.io where you can have countless, and I mean this very literally, countless tabletop role-playing games designed by independent designers and major publishers. And it is all available, and a lot of it's available for free. Many of the most common rule systems you will find out there are under the $5 line and are very interesting. There is literally a guy named Grant Howitt who for 1 week, once a week, every week for nearly an entire year, he designed one-page tabletop role-playing games. Just nodding along at me, man. I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he satisfies me. Is that what you think I'm here for? Stop nodding. All right.
Also, please support your local game stores.
Yes. I was going to get to that. Sorry. Yeah. You should support your local game stores. The more you support this hobby by supporting it locally, either by playing in-game stores, paying for local game masters. I've never been paid for this job, but hey, someone should. The more this hobby grows and the stronger it becomes. Oh, God. Why didn't I write, how do I do well?
I'm like, not good.
How do I be good? Oh, my God.
You know, better.
I will never be better. I will be adequate.
Wait.
I'm just going to read my notes real quick.
First big news.
What?
Okay.
I hope people are having fun. No one's cheering at that. Thank you.
For this.
Thank you. All right. A tabletop role-play game is a very fluid experience with you and your friends. The entire goal is to have a constant stream of communication, meet your objectives, and just keep going and having fun. There is no one tabletop role-playing experience. It doesn't exist. Okay? If you hold yourself to someone else's standard of having fun in a tabletop role-playing game, where every possible standard of fun can be created, you will not have a good time. Now, the first key skill, don't click on the next slide. All right.
Too late.
Is to communicate. This is a hobby where 90% of your work is in how you communicate with other people. And if you cannot communicate, if you have obviously a communication challenge of some kind, having the tools on hand to communicate your wants and your needs. You have to listen actively. You have to learn actively what your fellows react. And that even starts before the game does. If people are just coming in and saying, this is how my day was. This is what went wrong in my day. Because we live past 2020 and every day is a dystopian hellscape run by capitalists. It is important to keep up those lines of communication, to always be open about what is bothering you and what's going well in your life. Because the more that you communicate that, the better your experience can be. The second rule, which would be ticked to the slide, is read the bloody rules of the system you're in. You would think...
Read them, but not necessarily follow them all the time.
I have that in here. You'd think that this was actually kind of obvious. The thing is about tabletop role-playing games is the vast majority of the systems you may touch in your lifetime as a tabletop role player may have hundreds of pages. And you'll look at a book you'll randomly grab and go, what the heck was that guy thinking? I can't remember every single rule here. You're not expected to. But you're expected to try to understand the system. And And here's the thing, you don't have to get it all at once. You can get it over time. You can study the system over time and get better at it and improve it and learn slowly and over time. And I hit the microphone and I'm getting embarrassed and then you're able to like stop me.
For context, Mike has been playing for at least 20 years.
Yeah.
And he's only learned maybe about like 4 systems. Like,
I beg your goddamn pardon.
memorized
Oh yeah, memorized.
4 systems. And then like the rest of it is a basic curation notice of it. I have been playing for about 23 years. And legitimately, I only know 2 systems off the top of my head. If you ask me to recall anything from like Warhammer, fuck that. I don't know anything.
But did you play Warhammer?
I played it one time with you, with Devin.
Oh yeah, you did. You had a miserable time, man.
I did.
And lastly, you have just begun. It's the very beginning of your journey. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to make embarrassing mistakes that will change the way you are as a person. Ranging from, ow! Ranging from the systems you pick, to how you play, to what you like to play as a player, to the people you have around you when you play your game. And that's okay. It's a beautiful part of this process. It makes you a better person and a better role player. So embrace it. So first of all, we're going to cover how to be a good game master. First, I'm going to explain what a game master is before someone clicks the next slide.
Too late.
It's why I click.
That's just water.
Shut up, Dave. I can fire you.
Rubber insurance waterings.
It smells like pasta sauce. It's of course. Some of you believe that. That's not. All right. First of all, for those of you who don't know what a game master is, typically, and this is not always the case, a game master is the person who runs the game for everyone else. They are the people who usually design the module that you are running, which is the scenario that you are going through. They set up the enemy encounters, the challenges, and the characters that are not controlled by the players. Typically, there are systems out there that don't require a game master, and I hate them because that means I technically don't have a reason to exist. I'm kidding, they're all really good systems. The golden rule of being a good game master is this, and it has always been this, and I tell everyone this. You are not writing a story. You are designing a game. These are 2 very different sets of skills. A lot of game masters in this modern age are very obsessed with having their players have a great story they take elsewhere. I understand that. I get that. I've had that moment. The reality of it is, story happens anyway, as long as you design things to be fun for people to experience. It does not have to be cohesive. It does not have to be succinct. Because here's the problem. If you start writing a story, and you have expectations about where your players go, and they say, yeah, but what if we don't think we can do that? And there's this thing over here we want to do.
We don't want to go over to the very scary cave. Let's go down to the harbor.
Yeah, we like Harbor Jimmy.
He's
He's got a peg leg and an accordion. We want to make this guy a rock star. That's happened. He had a successful career tour, and the village got destroyed by a dragon because the GM got mad. All right? And the other thing is, too, if you have a story and you have all these long-term expectations and goals, and the players evade them and write their own story, you're going to feel like you wasted your time and your effort. Whereas if you curate experiences for them to go through, you will design. You know what? That whole sentence sucked. I'm going to start over again. What you have to think about is the fact that as you're a game designer, as opposed to a story writer, you have to make things that you would want to have fun experiencing. You, as a game master, have to appreciate that if you were a player, you wouldn't want to sit there passively listening to the GM drone on about all the cool things he made. You would want to interact with things. You would want to change things. You would want to make a difference in the world that you are in.
Maybe you want to romance the dragon.
Why do you keep bringing it back to that? All right? If you think about curating fun experiences, a story will happen naturally. Second thing.
Well, that's the same thing.
That's the same point?
Yeah.
All right.
There's good
I'll explain that bullet point. A lot of game masters get two kinds of mistakes they make about pre-written modules. So for those of you who don't know, there are pre-written modules for many of the tabletop systems out there that you can get, especially the very popular ones, that help create an adventure for you. There are two mistakes GMs think. One, you're not a good GM if you use a module. That's a lie. And two, you have to perfectly follow the module that you have bought. That is a lie. The sheer reality of tabletop and basic human communication is as you take in information and give it to someone else, it will change by going through you and curing your experience. So you are not the best modules out there are built specifically for you to translate that. And you will notice that the best modules that you will ever play will have huge gaps in them. You'll be like, well, there's nothing here. What do I do? Put it in yourself. Put it in the horny dragon. Be that hero.
Keep it here when you say that.
I am the hero you deserve. And if you are not especially creative or
an improv person.
that's okay. It's very popular now to have very dramatic role-playing, acting, tabletop games. It's not necessarily a thing you have to do. There are people out there that play purely tactical games that are very devoted to the rules, and there are game masters out there that just aren't built to be playing 7 different characters with 7 different voices having a succinct conversation. That's okay. You can do things like say to your players, hey, do you guys want to control the NPCs?
What together?
And that's power you give very lightly, but it always pays out well. Next up, how to be a good player. First of all, you are not the big damn hero of your group. All right? A tabletop game is curated with multiple players to have different sets of skills that work together as a cohesive unit. There is no King Arthur, there is no Superman in a tabletop role-playing game. It's a group of people. Realize that, respect that, and work with it.
You're the Avengers,
Yeah.
not Iron Man.
Those.
Second thing, your best is yet to come. What do I mean by that? A lot of players, when they sometimes come into a role-playing game, have very long backstories of all this cool stuff that they did before they got here. And then they'll get to that first session at level 1, and they will roll, and they will critically fail. And they will ask, well, there goes all that backstory. I can't back it up. There is nothing wrong with having a very long and very elaborate backstory. But, and this is the thing I tell every player, remember this. The best things that have ever happened to your character are going to happen in the game. They haven't happened in the past. So if you have this big, long, elaborate past, don't write it that you did all this cool stuff. Write about how you screwed up your life. Write about how everything went wrong for you, and all the people that hurt you, and all the bad things that happened. And that will justify why you need 3 other people who are just as big a pack of dumpster fires as you. And how somehow this pack of one dumpster fire is in a corner and a problem. 4 dumpster fires going down the road is everyone else's problem. I like that line. I'd like to use that again later. Secondly, thirdly, the spark of life. There is a moment where a character goes from being a good idea to an amazing part of yourself. No character that you will admit, yeah, come on in, it's okay. No character, there are truly great characters out there that resonate with people, that carry forward, have something of yourself in them. Some emotion, some identifiable drive, the push forward that carries them through all this stuff. It could be something as simple as, I am here to make money because I want to retire rich, to, I'm going to kill Gregory, he killed my wife. My wife's down here, Gregory's up here. We just got to understand what those lines are. Aren't you mad Gregory killed you, Sam?
Oh, I'm so bad. I'm devastated. But
You mastered the art of role-playing.
Is everyone having fun, by the way? Thank God. I was prattling on like a jackass. Are you guys actually, is this helping you, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Can't it be both?
Yes, it can. Next up, safety tools. This is way too new in tabletop for what it is. Safety tools are a means for players and game masters to communicate with each other about subject matter that they might not feel comfortable with. Because, yeah.
I thought it was like eye shield so you wouldn't get caught with the dice just to like so I got way too excited.
That's new. Congratulations, thank you. I've never heard of that happening before in all the times I've done this presentation. What's up?
Giant inflatable dice and for all my players who are married.
Yeah, that's viable.
So
I have a
safety
cardboard.
glasses, they-
I have a cardboard too, but you've hurt me. Not kidding. Whenever my players wrong me, I do this to them on a downward angle, and it implies that the clouds have parted and taken the shape of a middle finger, and it's right above them. And they have been like, "That can't be for us," and it follows them for like an hour. But yeah. There are many types of safety tools, but here are three of the most common ones. The first one is the X card, which is the original safety tool. This is a device where if you run into something with your fellow players, all you do is you put up in your group chat or have on the table an X and touch it. When you hit that button, it means something really bad has come up that has reminded you of something very terrible in your life. You do not want to touch that again. It's done, the GM moves on. The next one is what's known as lines and veils. Who mentioned session zeros? You're absolutely right. When you start your tabletop game, it's always really good to have something called a session zero, which is the meeting before your game. Typically, you create characters, you talk about the rule system, but more importantly, you talk about the things you do not want in there.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you're the game master, you talk about the things you're not going to touch. For example, I do not roleplay intimate scenes with my players. Oh yeah, I'm the monster. I have three other guys that I'm like, I'm not really comfortable, Dave, having an intimacy scene with you. Why does your wife get all the intimacy scenes, Mike? Why the hell do you think? Pookie.
We played with my brother. We're not gonna.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's my brother-in-law right there. And as a rule, I never touch trigger warning, 6 charm, sexual assault at all in my games. I don't. It's a terrible thing to happen to people. I don't wish it on anyone. I sure as heck don't want to remind anyone of it. I don't. If everyone communicates what they do not want in that game or what they can have in. So lines are, let me try that again. Lines are things that we don't touch. We don't talk about it. It's not in the world. Veils are things that are in the world, but we're not going to touch them. Things like
They're implied.
they're implied to be there in the world, but they're not necessarily something we're going to go very deep into. Next up. You put so much work into this terrible PowerPoint presentation of mine. Thank you. Love you too. Stars and wishes. It's the exact opposite of lines and veils. These are things you want to happen. Stars are things that definitely have to happen for you to have that experience be wonderful. And it can be anything from, I want to have a great romance that affects the ages, to, I want kill. Correct. Whereas wishes are things that it's okay if it doesn't happen, but you'd like it to happen, and it helps color the GM's expectations for the game.
Next.
Yeah, what next?
Eat twice.
And then, of course, there's the golden rule of tabletop safety. None of these things work if you do not actively listen to something someone's telling you. This has been the big problem with safety tools now as they've been integrated in, is you've had people who've gotten all these safety tools in and they did all the work, and then nobody used them afterwards.
Amen.
Which is why communication is that best skill. You have to actively be aware of what people are telling you about their lives, where things have gone wrong, and what they need help with. Because this is a fluid experience. People are not the same people day after day after day. Stuff happens to us. Bad things, sometimes good things. And it changes us all in different ways.
Also, aftercare after a session is also important. So make sure that you communicate with your players before and after the game, so that way you know where everybody is. It works.
Yeah. And now, frequently asked questions I always get at these panels. First of all, what system do I play? Answer, the one that looks cool. Woo! Yeah. This is not a facetious answer. You will always learn a tabletop game way faster if it looks neat to you. No matter what it is. Yes, even if it's 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I may rag on it, but you can play it. I don't care. I'm not your boss. Okay? If it looks cool, you'll learn it faster and you'll learn it better. Next question. What if I feel my character would do something that would deliberately piss off my fellow players? Don't do it! All right?
I know that happened to me.
Yeah, don't do it. Okay? Here's the thing. And if you need a job, here's the thing. You are, at the core, you are still in a game with a bunch of other people, and you all have to have that experience together. All right? Secondly, if you have a character who's deliberately an asshole and wanders off, but then in the clutch moment turns around and goes, I'm going to be there with you, it means something else. It means your friends and your friends in game, in the mise-en-scène, are more important than that character's own individual trauma. And that is a beautiful character moment that so many people don't appreciate. Next commonly asked question I get, when is it okay to railroad? Don't! Railroading to me is a trick that is only used by people who are very new in the system.
Explain what railroading is.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, railroading is when your players are doing whatever they want in your game, and you're like, guys, I have a vampire over here. There's a vampire over here. No, we don't want to deal with that yet. And then the vampire just grabs them magically and shoves them right in front of them. It's where you unnaturally take your players out of what experience they're doing and shove them over to where you want them to go. Don't do it. As a rule, the best way to get players back on track is to very politely ask them. You do not have to have this big illusion of the game master. You can communicate with people about the experience you want as the game master and what you want to give them, and you will get them there. Just ask.
Or kidnap an NPC.
Or can have an NPC that they like.
That they really like.
You have no idea why Peg Leg Johnny with the accordion has been kidnapped 27 times in my games. But man, oh man, doesn't get him there. Next question. What if I cannot afford a game? Answer.
Sorry.
I have a very beautiful QR code full of free tabletop resources for systems in their entirety that are available online for free. Come on in. Yeah, I see. No, don't run. It's okay. It's safe. I don't buy it. I lose more men that way. I won't take it personally. I won't remember you classes had mad forever. Come back. I'm not padding time. What are you talking about? Next up. I just started GMing. What is a good way to practice? The answer? Short games. It is very tempting to run a very long game. I know it is. You just started getting into this hobby. You found a really great long module that'll take people through 12 levels. Run short games. Learn who your players are. Learn how they play. Learn if you even want to have everyone there at your table for something long. Because it is a pain in the butt if you don't have this stuff worked out.
You may be friends with Jimmy for like 15 years, but it might turn out that Jimmy doesn't play well with others.
It might turn out that Jimmy does not interact well with girls at your table and will very sexistly pick fights with them. That happened to me.
That's why we picked the bigger.
Yeah.
True.
Well, we can reach.
And last but certainly not least, the free stuff!
Pull out your phones!
Pull out your phones. On that QR code is D20LIVE's personal curated list of every free RPG I have ever found, period. Some of it's on DriveThruRPG, some of it's on itch. It is all on there for your use and your benefit.
Tell that man.
Everyone does eventually. So we can leave that up.
Yes.
But we have ended the point of the presentation where I prattle on endlessly, and you guys get to ask questions, which I'm very happy to answer. So, raise your hands if you got questions.
Is that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I like your eyebrows.
Thank you. They're genetic and unattainable. Yeah, go ahead.
Off the top of your head, recommended for a brand new player, short game, what do you think?
Depends. What do they like? Okay. The big filter game that a lot of people like to do is Dungeons and Dragons because there's a lot of expectations with it. Me personally, what I do is I ask that player, hey, what's your favorite anime? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite video game? And I pick one of 2 RPG systems to curate and experience that. But that's me as an experienced game master, and I can bend rules to make them work for me. Those are fate accelerated if it's people are low power, and mutants and masterminds if they're high power. Because in mutants and masterminds, you can get so strong you can break a planet in half.
If you need something very, very simple for a role-playing game system, then lasers and feelings is always very good because you only have like what, 2 stats?
Yeah.
So
And you roll with them.
Yeah.
Most of Grant Howitt's one-page RPGs are really good. What else is good? If you like Cyberpunk Red's really good. Yeah,
I really like Powered by the Apocalypse system.
it's a great system.
2d6s.
Yeah.
Basically, it's got to complicated d20s, right?
Mhm.
So on each of the graphs, on each of the 4 stats, but yeah.
The only reason why I don't recommend Powered by the Apocalypse out the gate is I'm very careful about what people's experience on. And Powered by the Apocalypse, though it's very good, is so very different from every other system. And I don't want people to go, what do you mean? It's like this now, instead of this. It's very good, do not get me wrong, but it's so very different. But in a good way. Anyone else? Questions, please? Yeah, go ahead.
If you're going to claim where you're not that
Yeah.
after you're getting into your character, how do you not decide a use versus score? Like, you know, when you pretend like, oh, this would be a good thing for my character, but your character doesn't know what's going on, nothing. Like, how do you act the correct decision without how do you avoid better?
You mean metagaming? There's a golden rule to beating metagaming. It's called, I'm not saying this to make light of your experience. Talk to your fellow players in the moment, and the GM would go, guys, what do? I don't know how to make this work. Me personally as a game master, I don't care that much that players metagame by literally sitting back going, guys, hold up, I've got an idea about my character's stupid. I'm not saying your character's stupid, that's just what usually I hear around my table. And then all of them go, oh, that's a good idea, I'm the smart character, I'm gonna suggest it. All right, go team, and they go. I don't care about metagaming, because metagaming gets a very hard rap, because a lot of people see the worst possible configuration of metagaming, which is, I'm gonna read ahead in the module and use that inside knowledge to do things. Whereas if the player and the player and the game master have a conversation about their expectations, that's technically also metagaming. So at that point, everyone should just be able to have that open conversation. That's my belief personally. I think Versilva tuning games is stupid. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's 2 questions.
sure.
The first one is, I don't know if you have, if you run a lot of games online or digitally,
Oh yeah.
but what is your process for, like right now, my group, I'm both a player with them and then a GM with them for my campaign.
Yeah.
How do you pattern out making sure there's not too much like overlap? We've got a good system going about to us, but that's like built after trial and error. Do you have a way that you like to start things out in a way that kind of gets things running front to back?
The unfortunate heavy lifting of a game master in the online experiences I've seen is because you are an authority figure in a social situation. If you say, hold on, I heard what you said and that person, but I didn't hear what that person said, unfortunately, it's usually where it blurs down to me. I know that experience very well. And the thing I found is I started to do that, everyone else started to do the same thing and they started to self-police.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's the GM has to usually go, hold on, this, I heard this, but I didn't hear that. Yes, it is a weird thing from real life that translates over to virtual.
Yeah, that's not good.
What else? Please. Yep.
I was in a game where it's a D&D. Yeah, our group ended up antagonizing people we were staying with, even though those people were acting kind of shady. And I was playing the fighter, and I was trying to tell, like, guys, this is not the right time. They were saying, if you're the fighter, why aren't you trying to fix a fight there? And I felt like, well, isn't that them kind of playing my character? Shouldn't I decide what my character does? Like, who was in the right there? They picked the fight with people I didn't want to because I wanted to find out more before we really did anything.
I think the question is, how do you get up people who are not trained force you to role play?
Oh, would they want you to?
Yeah.
That's a communication you should be having with your game master. So tell them that you are not comfortable with how other players are putting you in these situations and say that it's making that comfortable. That's literally your game master.
Did you have a second question?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll follow up with my second study.
Sure.
First thing was a quick suggestion as well. It's a term that my group also has found helpful for the after game, like, you know, kind of conversations and things. We affectionately refer to that's our book club.
Oh, that's nice.
After our game, anybody can still has time logs on, or we'll usually do it like a 2 hours afterwards, and everybody will come on to the different chat. We did a little talk about our experiences of the game one. It's fun too, especially if you just had a great combat. You go, oh my god, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And all this, that, and the other thing. But it also opens up a casual opportunity for us to discuss what we're feeling or if there's any expectations that need to be adjusted and things like that. So I personally found that very, very helpful. But my question was balancing homebrew with built content. Makes me like, how does that, like, especially for if you have communication and making sure that everybody's still on the level. I was built a lot of it myself, but the GF runs the amount of player and has. And I know it's something you have to talk about, wait to sure things don't get crazy, like slanted one way or the other, or like things like that.
I need to ask you what system the homebrew is in.
It's still at 5Bs.
Okay. All right. The thing is with 5e and homebrew content is there's a weird thing about 5e and homebrew, and the fact that it is the easiest system in the world right now to homebrew things in, because everyone did it, and there is a really huge holes in the system where it's easy to homebrewing stuff. You have to, when you're setting up your session 0, really set up what guidelines for what homebrew stuff is working and what homebrew stuff is not working. I can see you guys talking. I don't care. I'll talk over you.
I worked at kindergarten.
Okay. Want to bet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh.
For the game master, if the game master's just throwing a whole bunch of homebrew stuff in there and doing it willy-nilly, talk to them about how it's making you uncomfortable and confusing things and where you guys are having a hard time, and start having that conversation. That's usually the best way to do it.
And you.
No problem.
What's your favorite module?
Are you going to ask a man who his favorite child is? Okay. Okay.
Can I start? I'm mine.
You are not at the front of this panel. You opened that fucking Pandora's box. All right. My favorite module. There's 2. There's 3. Shush! There's 3.
Okay.
All right. Yes, I'm sure. There's more. Because I haven't read through all the Call of Cthulhu. Anyway, the module that taught my personal favorite, it's not the best module in the world, but it taught me so much about GMing, was a adventure path from Pathfinder called Kingmaker. Has anyone heard of that?
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
That's me.
Now, Kingmaker to me is very special because the fact that Kingmaker was the first adventure path I ran for my friends, the Pathfinder, period. The second thing that I like about it is Kingmaker was very special in that it did 2 things differently from every other tabletop module I'd ever seen. 1, you do not have a path in a straight line. In Kingmaker, you are told, here is the wilderness! Settle it! Good luck! We sent 3 other teams and they all died. And your players just go through that map and find plot when they find it. They can miss it for days. They can have a little tiny island with 20 wisps on it that they're terrified of, and they never go back. And I love that island. It's called Candlemere. Anyway, sorry.
To be fair, we became the larger of 2 bandit
Became the larger of 4 bandit hordes. The other thing that I love about it is, this is a big problem I have with the atypical Dungeons & Dragons experience. You will make a lot of money and become very powerful. What the heck do you do then as a person? In Kingmaker, you become kings. You create your own government. You create your own system of laws and order, and you've built up a stretch of civilization in that area. And your players have to go from being marauding psychopaths to governing bodies. And I love it for that. The second module I love, because I'm a basic bitch at heart, is Ravenloft, the original I6 module. I love that module with all my heart and soul. I love Strahd as a villain. He is perfect in every way, and I will always vote for a chance to play him. I love him. The third is the Pendragon tabletop role-playing Great Pendragon campaign. Does anyone know what Pendragon is?
Yep.
1 person. 2 people. All right.
3.
So 3 people. Dave, you don't count. You work for me. The Pendragon tabletop roleplay game is a game system unlike every other game system I've ever played, in that you play 1 class a night. You have 1 cultural background. You are from the Cymric region of England. You will play a character for 3 generations, which means you will have to get married You will have to have children. You will have to maintain your homestead. And then that child, you will take over. And that child will be the next generation in the King Arthur legend. And then you get to do it again. And there is a module for from 485 to 565. So about 80 to 90 years of Arthurian history that you and your players can play through all of it. It's huge, and I love it. And you feel so important. For reference, this is the adventure where I've had NPCs die. We had in-game funerals for those non-player characters.
So,
And multiple times, people have lost partners, NPC partners, not real world partners, and have cried when those people have died. Of course,
I did it.
not just you drew art of your spouse's death. You fell in love with Matic. I don't know why you don't fall in love with Matic. It is by far the biggest sweeping epic story I've ever played, and it is the most interesting experience I've ever had. Those are my 3 favorites. Any other questions? I'm going to 1, 2, 3. Go ahead.
well, okay, so I'm trying to get into GMing online.
I'm not going to give you a copyright thing, Hasbro.
I saw it under the table. I don't play the deal. Yeah, so I'm trying to start GMing online, but
Yeah.
I had really bad times with my ADHD with organizing.
Yeah.
How do you set it up so that everyone can access the information they need? Because I take shite notes.
I like very simple tools to curate things for my players.
Yeah.
Google Doc, a living Google Doc,
Okay.
a Discord room where they can have conversations, are your best friend, and I use a dice roll off of Roll20 because it's the easiest thing.
Yeah,
It's
that was my biggest one. It was the
The dice roller?
yeah.
I use Roll20, though Roll20 is not that good. There's also Foundry Virtual Tabletop. And,
Discord is also coming up with a.
oh, are they finally getting a roller? Oh, I can finally abandon Roll20.
I don't know which one the correcting.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Do you mind if I take a video of your answer so that I actually remember it?
Sure.
Okay. Cool. All right.
So Roll20 is the basic one. It's not the best one. There's Foundry Virtual Tabletop. There's Fantasy Grounds, and what's the other big one?
Discord is now.
And Discord will be getting a dice roller soon.
I'm so excited. Max, I used this hard. Okay. Thank you.
Everyone uses Discord. It's better than Zoom. Okay, who was? Are your question up?
My question is in fact yeah.
Cool. Next up.
Me?
Yeah, you had that next.
Cool. Okay. Again, as a preface, I have 0 experience, so I just can't
That's fine.
at all. In my head, when I think about a type of character that I'm supposed to walk the flank, hypothetically, I'm like, ooh, it would be fun. Flint, and then fun the carries. But then
Yeah.
I think, ooh, I don't know anything about herbs. Is that an issue?
Nope.
Like, in order to play a character, do I have to do the research to kind of understand, or is there freedom to kind of make things up? Like, this is the shmakalaka herb. I'm like,
Yep. Okay.
you know.
This is the beautiful thing about a good tabletop role-playing game. Those mechanics exist there to represent the knowledge you are supposed to have as a character. So you could just as easily say, I have the shmuckalaka herb, that you said. Or you can say, shut up, Stephen. My character has +10 in herbology, so therefore it's the answer, and it's brilliant. That's what I say, because I'm a jackass at my core.
But you don't need to actually
No.
know the actual terms for things. You can actually just roll and say, I have this herb and it will work.
Yeah.
Right?
And typically, if you have a system that has an herbology system, they will tell you what the end products are and the components in it, depending on the system. But you're talking about stuff like Burning Wheel. I think I said that. You have no idea what I'm talking about. All right. If you're looking for systems where you can play very naturopath games, Burning Wheel and Ryutama. Burning Wheel is if you wanted Western, Ryutama if you like anime. I don't know if anyone in here likes anime. That's a moment for a cheap pop, and then you fell for it. Jump in the back!
When you're GMing
Yeah.
in map design, for D&D, you have to design the dungeons
Yeah.
and the layout, good and bad points, things you've learned and things to avoid.
Okay. I draw like I have suffered several concussions in my life. So my maps are squiggle line. This is land. This is water. And this oval is a sea monster. And my players went all in on this. I will remind you, my wife is an artist, and I've seen her have a stroke every time I draw. Here's the thing, and there's a really cool loophole for this. If you're not good at, I'm saying, depending on whether or not you're good at drawing, if you're good at drawing, I don't know you.
Or if you have a map generator, which is so fair.
Yeah.
Or grip page. You're right on.
Yeah. If you are good at drawing, you can put in more detailed maps. There are countless map resources online and map drawing tools, as my wife said. That being said, every map that you draw, you have to think about the reality is it's not technically a map of the world. It's a map that your players have made in the moment. And those can be just as terrible as you want them to be. And that's great. They can just be like, guys, there's a ridge over there. Draw it in the fucking dirt, I don't care. I broke my finger on the tablecloth. But yeah, the biggest pitfall to avoid is don't make it harder for yourself than it needs to be. Be simple. Whatever you can do fast and well is more important than what you can do long and complicated. It takes you 5 hours. Because a map is an instance, you will have multiple instances throughout running your game. So just make your life easier.
Yeah, the DM who was in charge of our group, he is an engineer, so he just brought in a map from building he worked on.
Yeah.
Like, he built in plans down and it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
There are tons of free resources that you can find online. If you type in dungeon, like RPG map, you can find stuff on Google, and if it's just for your game, like your personal game, it's absolutely no issue. It's different when you have to stream, because then you have to worry about copyright. So
Yeah. Stream for public, not for streaming to your friends. There's a dude literally online who makes 3D living maps that are just YouTube videos, just so people could put them on a TV, play on them. Ooh. I'm not rich like that, but I dream of it. Any other questions? We have 7 more minutes. Yo.
How do you so I haven't that's like must have most of the way sci-fi and half was play render.
Yeah.
How would I kind of balance that out? Is the engineer dealing with it?
If you need inspiration for that and how to balance fantasy and sci-fi, there is a certain video game you may have heard of called Final Fantasy VII. And you can shamelessly rip that off. And I think that will do you justice. And I don't mean that sarcastically. Your intellectual concepts will not come to you in a vacuum sitting on a mountain in the middle of nowhere. They come from taking inspiration from the world around you. So if you want a fantasy sci-fi game, take inspiration from fantasy sci-fi that you've seen that works for you. And that's
Star Wars is also
Star Wars is fantasy sci-fi. Technically, Avengers is fantasy sci-fi. It's however you want to balance that. You have a question?
And one of the recommendations on your list, the expense of
Well, that's pure sci-fi. Expanse is pure sci-fi. The one that's on there that is a perfect blend of fantasy sci-fi is Starfighter, which is on there. Anyone else? Okay, cool. Good panel. I'm serious. Does anyone have any other questions?
No.
Go ahead.
Any tips for murder hobos?
Are you the hobo or are you the game master?
I am the game master.
Hurt them. Okay. All right. Okay, question. How much do you like your players?
It's a D20 roll daily. That's how much I like them.
Okay. Murder hobos have 2 vibes. They either really want to be in power all the time, or they're waiting for you to challenge them. Okay? The biggest solution I've found for have a good time! The biggest solution I've found for the murder hobo party is running something that's called an OSR system, or old school renaissance. Old school renaissance, what's happened recently is people have been taking the old school, if you go into this trapped room, you will die instantly, and bring it into the modern age with modern mechanics and things like that. Murder hobos, if you hit that challenge just right, it goes from being a murder hobo party to a Dark Souls game, and they will eat that stuff up so well when you hit that curse. So that's usually, throw bigger things at them. They'll either go, this isn't fair, or they'll go, oh, we'll kill him, Mike. We'll kill this right in front of you. You think you've beaten us with one golem? I'll go, yes, I have. Beat him. Stop me.
Yeah, that's when they kill you, when you're in the middle of your big monologue.
Stop that.
We had one player actually count out 6 seconds in front of Mike and then just go, I stabbed him now. And Mike's just like, how There we go.
The standard action round is 6 seconds, so technically speaking, if my NPCs, there's a rule on my table that if my NPCs monologue for longer than 6 seconds, all my players get freed it because it means the round turns over. So they count for 6 seconds, they prep all their spells while I monologue and go, hit them! It's not fun. That's why all my spellcasters turn invisible now.
Freak out the elephant.
I'm not bitter. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
How do I stop my players from stealing everything in sight?
You can't.
What are the stakes for them not the stealing?
That's about it.
Here's the thing. Setting matters. So I'm going to say, what system?
Added.
ID? Okay. You want them to stop stealing everything? Make them important people. Give them ranks.
Oh.
Give them status. This is the thing I found very interesting when I stepped outside of the conventional D&D style game, is the fact that the second players learn that when you have, this is sort of a problem with D&D, not ragging on D&D, just saying a thing. When you have no stakes people going in and out of environments, they'll go, why do we care? But if you tell them, hey, you own land here, people know your name, you are a lord of establishment, you've done all these great things, and people know where you keep your stuff. They stop real hard and they start being really important people real fast. It's so fascinating. That's why I like L5R.
Hey, go ahead. Do you have any systems you recommend for children?
What?
Big.
There are systems that are built for children. The one that I use, I don't use this, no one lets children around me for some reason, makes the swearing. Fate. Fate's really easy because Fate uses one, a very simple dice roll system. Two, if children have a hard time articulating and translating what they want to a mechanic, whereas if you say, what's your character? My character is really good at punching. Okay, cool. Whenever your punching situation comes up, you get a +2, and that's it. That's the one I would recommend personally. Any other questions? Please. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. We've got like 2 minutes left. I could go rapid fire.
Why did you recommend the Expanse RPG on the list?
It's a good system.
And what can you share any quick moments about when you run a game like that?
Expanse?
Yeah.
I have not run the Expanse. I just had the chance to review it, and I know it to be a good system, run by a very good company, which is Green Ronin. The best sci-fi experience I can translate that I had was in Starfinder, because my players, when they built their spaceship, they built it wrong. Because they didn't read the shipbuilding rules correctly. And I said, okay, so what had happened, Mike? Well, you didn't put shielding on your ship or on your reactor. So everything's in a weird purple glow. And you guys all need to wear spacesuits. Fine. And they then proceeded to dart their way through deep space until the engineer player came back from his vacation and said, what did you do? Why are we all purple? Why are you throwing garbage out into the warp? That's why there's a really big problem in the warp. Back to me in 5 years. Any other questions? You then you.
Do you have any stories or examples of, sub-remote with improv instead of...
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, that's my question. If you had anyone.
Like improv in terms of I came up with a clever solution in a game? Or, okay, sure. I'm sorry, Sam.
Fuck you, how dare you.
I once used eating a slice of pizza to intimidate an entire orgy. I once proved that because my character was statistically faster than a horse, I could outrun a carriage of 4 horses. Because that carriage was being pulled, driving a vampire that we were hunting. So I then ran alongside the vampire, and because my character was that strong, and this is why I'm not allowed to play Regime Diabolique anymore, I ripped the door off of the carriage, because I was just as fast as the horses, and the brake DC for a carriage is 5, and then proceeded to hurl the door at the vampire, at which point we had a 1-hour conversation with the game master where we proved successfully that because it's wood and it is technically going through a vampire's chest, you can throw a door at a vampire and it will be impaled.
Every door after that was made of iron.
Dracula's painting of his wife and threw it at him to prove you couldn't stop us!
I've also been thwarted by a can of Pellegrino.
Shit like that. Does that answer your question? Okay, you got it.
I actually was in a D&D game that unfortunately got disbanded because one of the players thought it was funny to bring alcohol into the library we were using. Have you ever had to deal with a player like that in your game that just basically ruined everything? Like,
Yeah. What did I do? Ended the game. I'm not kidding. I've had some incredibly toxic players around my table who were very insistent on doing some very, very, very offside stuff that I am not okay with because their character was a demon. I'm good at What you're thinking of is exactly what happened. They got let loose in a bordello because the DM didn't know how to say no. And I went to the DM and said, this goes on, I'm leaving. And the group slowly disbanded after that, and I never played with those people again. I'm not kidding. The sad reality of tabletop is there's two kinds of players when you have a problem with someone. There are players that will say, when you confront them with something, will say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I never meant to ruin everyone's experience. I'm going to work to be better. And then there's players who will say the exact same thing and lie and not change. Get rid of those players. This is still your time. As long as you communicate, state your expectations, state what you're not comfortable with, and they keep doing it, it is not worth ruining your time for. All right, your time is just as valuable as theirs. If they're going to put their time above yours in value, they're not worth having at your table. Am I at time?
You are at time.
Holy cow! Thank you, everybody. So we are a show tonight. If you think I'm at least an entertaining person, you should come to the D20 Live X Dragon Ball game tonight, Hall H, TCC North at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We will have 2 VTuber guests as well as D20 Live people. Please come and check it out. It will help my self-esteem. If you're willing to come here at 10:30 in the morning, you're clearly willing to go there at 10 o'clock at night. But yeah. If you liked us, please feel free to come and join us on the D20 Live Discord. Look us up online. We constantly have conversations about tabletop theory, me ranting about things that anger me in the tabletop industry. Which is an ongoing and ever list because I'm 40. But we always encourage people, regardless of race, creed, background, or sexual identity, we believe in having covenants for our space.